If America collapses, which states will fall in the first 72 hours? Most people assume a nationwide collapse would hit every state the same way. But they're wrong. Some regions would fail in a matter of hours, while others could become fortresses almost overnight. Those first 72 hours decide everything: your safety, your escape route, your survival. Once the grid goes down, the water stops flowing, and the heat takes over, certain states will become unlivable, faster than anyone can imagine. But nobody ever talks about which ones break first, and why millions of Americans would be caught with absolutely no time to react. This is the 0-Hour Atlas, and this is the map of America you were never meant to see. A full-scale collapse doesn't start with politics or violence. It starts with infrastructure, the invisible systems that keep our country alive. Think of it like 3 pillars: electricity, water, and heat control. When one fails, states get stressed. When 2 fail, cities start to break. And when all 3 fail, the United States fractures faster than anyone is prepared for. But the first dominoes to fall aren't where most people expect. Let's start with water, the Western time bomb. The entire southwestern U.S. is already living on the edge. States like Arizona, Nevada, California, and New Mexico. Their reservoirs are dropping and ancient aquifers are shrinking. Megacities are drinking far more water than nature can ever replace. Once the water system breaks, society follows suit. But as dangerous as a water shortage is, it isn't even the fastest killer. That would be extreme heat. Heat kills much faster than thirst. In the Southwest, temperatures can soar to 115 degrees. With a heat index of 130, the asphalt you walk on can reach 160 degrees. Without power, without air conditioning, without even shade, cities like Phoenix, Las Vegas, and Palm Springs would become physically uninhabitable in less than 24 hours. But even heat isn't the main problem. The real trigger is energy. The American electric grid is our nation's Achilles heel. If the grid fails, everything stops. Water pumps shut off. Hospitals go dark. Cell towers die. Refrigeration ends, and our entire supply chain breaks down. Air conditioning disappears. A population of 330 million people becomes instantly vulnerable. And this is the moment when the first states fall. A nationwide blackout hits all 330 million of us at once. What happens next is a terrifying race against time. The first states wouldn't just flicker out. They would collapse entirely, and it would happen faster than you think. First to go? Arizona in just 6 hours. Without constant air conditioning, the state becomes a heat death zone. The combination of scorching temperatures and severe water scarcity means immediate, catastrophic failure. Next, Nevada, within 12 hours. Think about Las Vegas, a city built on artificial life support in the middle of the desert. Without power, it's completely uninhabitable. Within 24 hours, California would follow. 40 million people are suddenly dealing with no power, rampant wildfires, extreme heat, and a water supply that's mostly imported. It's a perfect storm for total chaos. Then Texas, at the 36-hour mark. Its independent power grid has failed before under less pressure. Add in the brutal heat and massive population centers like Houston and Dallas, and the collapse would be swift and brutal. By 48 hours, Florida is next. The state's infamous heat and humidity, combined with the constant threat of storms, would be unbearable without cooling. A mass evacuation would be impossible, leading to widespread panic. And within 72 hours, Louisiana and Mississippi join the fallen. Their low elevation, unstable grids, and high humidity make them incredibly vulnerable. But here's the twist. The collapse doesn't just spread from west to east. It spreads north as millions of desperate people start moving. The true safe zones, the places that could actually withstand this apocalypse, are defined by a few key factors: high altitude, a cold climate, access to fresh water, low population density, and geography that naturally resists chaos. So where would you want to be? The strongest fortress states would be places like Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming. These states have the resources and the space to weather the storm. Utah, with its unique geography and community structure, would also stand strong. In the east, Maine and Vermont would become bastions of stability. Even states like North Dakota and the interior of Colorado could become sanctuaries. These places wouldn't just survive. They would become the foundation of a new post-collapse America. But even these safe havens would face an unprecedented challenge. They aren't truly safe once millions of people realize they're the only places left to go. The fight for survival would just be beginning. While some states crumble, others don't just survive. They become the new backbone of a fractured America. But here's the catch. These new safe havens won't stay safe for long. Why? Because millions of people will be on the move. Picture this. The Southwest and Deep South become uninhabitable. We're talking about over 60 million desperate Americans heading north, seeking water, safety, and a future. This isn't science fiction. It's a migration wave of historic proportions happening right inside our own borders. Highways like I-15 and I-5 will become parking lots of abandoned cars. The brutal heat will claim lives. Water shortages will dictate every move, shaping the escape routes and turning once familiar terrain into a deadly trap. Most survival plans focus on getting out, but they forget the biggest threat. When civilization disappears, nature doesn't just return. It becomes the final predator. Heat waves won't just be uncomfortable. They'll be lethal. Insect populations will explode, carrying diseases we thought were gone. Predators, pushed out by cities, will reclaim their territory. Storms will grow fiercer without the infrastructure to handle them, and wildfires will spread unchecked. The landscape itself becomes hostile, and humanity, for the first time in centuries, is prey once again. This brings us to the one impossible question every single American needs to ask themselves right now. If it all fell apart today, where would you go in the first 72 hours? More importantly, could your state actually keep you alive when millions are headed your way and nature itself has turned against you? We're exploring the real-world maps, the most likely scenarios, and the hard truths about how civilizations break and what it takes to build something new from the ashes. Don't miss what's coming. Subscribe to 0 Hour Atlas for more.